You think you're awake, don't you? Eyes open, coffee brewing, scrolling through another morning feed. But what if I told you are dreaming someone else's dream? Not a conspiracy, something far more elegant. Every opinion you defend, every truth you die on a hill for, might just be furniture someone else arranged in your head while you slept. Welcome to the architecture of reality. Here's the thing about being a human in the 21st century. You're walking around with a brain that evolved to spot predators in tall grass, trying to navigate an information landscape designed by creatures far more sophisticated than saber-toothed tigers. And they know exactly what they're doing. Your instincts are ancient. The systems shaping your attention are not. That mismatch is the whole problem. We love talking about fake news like it's the villain, easy to spot, cartoonishly evil, but that's not how this works though. The real magic isn't in the lies, it's in the frame. Picture two headlines: protesters clash with police versus police crackdown on peaceful demonstrators. Same event, different universe. One makes you think about public safety, the other makes you think about authoritarianism. Neither is technically lying, but your brain's already chosen sides before you read past the comma. Framing doesn't ask for your opinion, it installs one. And then there's your phone. Yes, your sweet pocket oracle. It knows you better than your mother does, maybe better than you know yourself. That algorithm isn't just showing you cat videos, it's learning what makes you angry, what makes you feel righteous, what keeps you scrolling at 2 a.m. when you promised yourself you'd sleep. It rewards outrage because outrage keeps you hooked. It builds you a personalized reality tunnel, and here's the beautiful horror of it. You start to believe that's just how the world is. Everyone thinks like you. Everyone's mad about the same things. The echo gets so loud you forget it's your own voice bouncing back. In 1950, if you wanted to control information, you needed tanks and secret police. Now, you just need an engagement algorithm and patience. Because when every news source in your feed agrees with you, when every recommendation confirms what you already suspect, you stop asking questions. Doubt feels unnecessary. Skepticism feels like betrayal. You've found your tribe, your truth. Never mind that someone else 5 miles away is living in a completely different reality. Equally convinced they are the sane one, and you're the problem. The illusion isn't that you have no choice, it's that you have 50 choices, all leading to the same room. Liberal media, conservative media, independent media, sometimes they are all selling you variations of the same story, just with different emotional seasoning. Fear, pride, nostalgia, moral superiority, take your pick. The real questions, the ones that might actually change things, never make it to the menu. Not because someone's burning books in the town square, but because the algorithm decided they wouldn't get enough engagement. Democracy dies in darkness, sure, but it also dies in a perfectly lit room where everyone's staring at their phone, convinced they're informed. You're not paranoid for noticing this, you're awake. The question is what you do with that. Let's talk about Edward Bernays for a second. Freud's nephew, father of public relations, absolute genius at understanding something most people never want to admit. We don't think, we feel, and then we justify. In 1929, he convinced women to smoke cigarettes by hiring models to march in a parade holding torches of freedom. Overnight, smoking became feminist. That's not advertising, that's reality construction, and we have gotten so much better at it since. Today, the architects aren't cartoon villains in boardrooms, though some of them are definitely in boardrooms. They're respectable. They wear nice suits. They fund think tanks with friendly names like the Institute for Democratic Progress or the Center for Economic Freedom. These organizations produce research, lots of it, and journalists, overworked, underpaid, racing against deadlines, cite it because it looks legitimate. It has footnotes and everything. Never mind that the whole thing was bankrolled by someone with a very specific agenda and a very large checkbook. Here's how it works in practice. A billionaire doesn't like a proposed tax increase. He doesn't go on television and say, "I don't want to pay more taxes because I like being a billionaire." That's bad form. Instead, his foundation funds a study on how tax increases hurt small businesses. The study gets picked up by news outlets. Suddenly, the debate isn't about wealth inequality. It's about protecting mom and pop shops. The frame has shifted. You've been moved from one room to another without noticing the door. Governments do this too, obviously. They always have. During World War I, they convinced entire populations that dying in trenches was glorious. After 9/11, they convinced America that invading Iraq was about weapons of mass destruction. And by the time everyone realized those weapons didn't exist, the war was already a fact. You can't uninvade a country. The narrative did its job. But this is what keeps me up at night. It's not just governments and corporations anymore. It's automated. Artificial intelligence can now generate thousands of fake social media accounts, each with a realistic posting history, each amplifying specific messages. The dead internet theory, the idea that most of what you interact with online isn't human anymore, is starting to look less like paranoia and more like Tuesday. We're not living in Orwell's 1984. That's the funny part. Big Brother doesn't need to watch you when you're voluntarily broadcasting your entire life. The boot stamping on a human face forever has been replaced with a gentle hand guiding your attention over and over until you can't remember what you wanted to look at in the first place. The question isn't whether you are being manipulated. You are. We all are. The question is whether you are okay with that and what you plan to do about it. So what now? You can't unsee this. Good. Start reading things that make you uncomfortable. Follow people you disagree with. Not to argue, to understand how someone else's reality got built. Ask yourself, who benefits from this narrative? What am I not being shown? Get comfortable being wrong. It's the only way you know you are still thinking. The fight isn't out there, it's in here, in the space between stimulus and response. That's where your freedom lives. They can flood your feed, frame every story, manufacture every crisis, but they can't think for you. Not yet anyway. So think, question, doubt. It's the most rebellious thing you can do.